Alan Carter drove his combine harvester across the golden wheat field. The Nebraska sun beat down on his tanned skin. It was a normal day on his farm, just like any other. Alan wiped sweat from his forehead and took a drink of water from his bottle. He had been farming this land for 15 years, ever since he left the army. The rhythmic sound of the harvester was soothing to him. Then he saw it, a bright light in the sky, growing larger by the second. At first he thought it was a plane or maybe a meteor, but it moved too strangely, slowing down as it approached. The object was shiny and oval-shaped with no wings. It was clearly not from Earth. The strange craft crashed into the far edge of his wheat field. It made a deep furrow in the ground as it slid to a stop. Smoke rose from the damaged ship. Alan stopped his harvester and jumped down. His heart raced, but his military training took over. Someone might need help. He ran toward the crash site, his boots kicking up dust. The ship wasn't very large, maybe the size of a small bus. Its metal skin was dented and torn. A door or hatch on the side had popped open. Strange symbols covered the hull, nothing like any language Alan had ever seen. "Hello?" Alan called out. "Anyone in there?" He heard a weak sound from inside. It wasn't quite a voice, more like a buzzing hum that changed pitch. Alan took a deep breath and looked inside the damaged craft. The being that looked back at him was definitely not human. It had 6 limbs and blue-green skin that seemed to shimmer. Its head was large with 3 big black eyes. The alien was pinned under a fallen piece of equipment. A thick, dark blue liquid pooled beneath it. Blood, Alan guessed. The alien made that buzzing sound again. It was clearly in pain. Alan didn't hesitate. He climbed into the ship and pushed the heavy equipment off the creature. The alien's body felt cool to the touch, much cooler than a human's. "It's okay," Alan said, not knowing if the creature could understand him. "I'm going to help you." Alan took off his flannel shirt and pressed it against the alien's wound to stop the bleeding. The creature's 3 eyes blinked at him in what seemed like surprise. "Xerix," the alien suddenly said in a scratchy voice. "I am Xerix." Alan almost fell over in shock. "You speak English?" Translator, device. Xerix pointed to a small object attached to what Alan guessed was its neck. "Ambassador of Galactic Confederation." Alan nodded slowly. "I'm Alan Carter." He continued to apply pressure to the wound. "We need to get you proper medical help." "No," Xerix said. "My kind, different biology. You are helping already." The alien's breathing seemed to steady. "Sent distress signal. Rescue ship. Coming soon." Alan looked around the damaged craft. The air inside was different. Thinner, cooler, with a sweet smell. "What happened to your ship?" "Navigation error. Your planet not well charted. Gravity stronger than expected." Xerix tried to sit up. How are you surviving here?" Alan was confused by the question. "What do you mean?" "This world..." Xerix gestured weakly. "Death conditions. Gravity, crushing. Oxygen levels toxic, temperature extremes, solar radiation deadly." Alan chuckled. This is just a normal summer day. Maybe a bit hot, but nothing special." Xerix's 3 eyes widened. "You evolved here? Naturally?" "Of course," Alan said. "Where else would we come from?" The alien made a sound that might have been a laugh or a cough. "Most intelligent species terraform planets to livable conditions, or live in environmental suits, or space habitats." Xerix looked at Alan with new interest. "But you thrive in what would kill most galactic species in minutes." Before Alan could respond, a high-pitched tone sounded from a panel in the ship. Xerix pressed something and the tone stopped. "Rescue ship. Arriving soon," Xerix said. "Please, help me outside. They will need to see me." Alan carefully helped the alien to its feet, or what passed for feet. Xerix was surprisingly heavy for its size, maybe 300 pounds. But Alan was strong from years of farm work and military training. He supported the aliens' weight as they moved toward the hatch. Outside, the sun was starting to set, painting the sky with orange and red. Xerix seemed to study the scene with wonder. "Beautiful," the alien said. "Deadly but beautiful." About 20 minutes later, another ship appeared in the sky. This one was larger and moved with more control. It hovered over the wheat field, blowing the golden stalks in all directions with its engines. Then it landed about 50 yards away. Ramp extended from the ship's side. 3 beings emerged wearing what looked like heavy spacesuits with helmets. They moved awkwardly, as if the suits were uncomfortable or the gravity was too strong for them. "My rescue team," Xerix explained. "They cannot survive in your atmosphere without protection." The rescue team approached slowly. When they saw Alan, holding Xerix upright, they stopped suddenly. One of them made frantic gestures. Their voices came through speakers on their suits, but the language was unintelligible to Alan. Xerix responded in the same language, then switched to English. "They are shocked. They cannot believe you are touching me without protection, or that you breathe this air naturally." Alan shrugged. "Just doing what any decent person would do." The rescue team cautiously came closer. They brought a floating stretcher for Xerix. As Alan helped the alien onto it, one of the suited figures scanned him with a device. The figure stepped back quickly. It said something that sounded alarmed. "What's wrong?" Alan asked. Xerix's translator crackled. "He says your body temperature would cook their internal organs. Your muscles and bone density would let you tear their limbs off accidentally. Your immune system is fighting off millions of microbes that would cause plagues on their worlds." The alien made that strange laughing sound again. "They think you are terrifying." As the rescue team prepared to leave, Xerix turned to Alan. "The Confederation will want to establish contact now. They need to know about Earth and its unusual inhabitants." Alan looked at his damaged wheat field, then at the alien ships. His quiet life had just changed forever. "Tell them we'll be waiting." The rescue ship lifted off with Xerix aboard. The damaged craft remained in Alan's field. Within hours, government vehicles began arriving. Men and women in suits asked Alan endless questions about his encounter. News spread quickly around the world. Aliens exist, and they think humans are the scary ones. Within days, it spread throughout the galaxy. A species of apparent Deathworlders exists, and they're intelligent enough for spaceflight. The Galactic Confederation debated intensely. Many member species expressed fear about allowing such naturally dangerous beings into galactic society. Others saw potential in these hardy creatures from Earth, but all agreed on one thing: the universe had just become a much more interesting place. 3 months had passed since the day Alan Carter found an alien in his wheat field. The world had changed. Governments worked together in ways they never had before. Everyone wanted to prepare for the promised diplomatic mission from the stars. Galactic Confederation chose a small town near Alan's farm as their meeting place. They wanted somewhere quiet, away from big cities. Security forces built a special landing area and meeting complex. Scientists, diplomats, and military personnel from around the world gathered there. Susan Miller stood at the window of the newly built Welcome Center. She watched workers put the finishing touches on the landing pad. Susan was a diplomat from Ohio who spoke 4 languages. She never imagined her first truly foreign language would be alien. "They're coming today," said Richard Jones, walking up beside her. Richard was a former Navy SEAL, now head of security for the diplomatic mission. His strong build and calm eyes gave people confidence. "Are we ready?" Susan asked. Richard nodded. "As ready as we can be." Dr. Elizabeth Wright joined them, carrying a tablet computer. She was a xenobiologist from California with bright eyes and a curious mind. "The medical team is prepared for any issues, but honestly, we have no idea what to expect." The 3 of them had been chosen to represent humanity. Susan for communication, Richard for security, and Elizabeth for scientific exchange. They had trained together for weeks, but nothing could truly prepare them for this moment. A soldier rushed into the room. "They're here. Confederation ships entering our atmosphere." Everyone moved outside to watch. 7 ships descended from the clouds. They were different shapes and sizes, representing various alien species. The largest one landed first. Its engines, quieter than Earth ships. A ramp extended from the main ship. The first aliens emerged wearing protective suits that covered their bodies completely. Some suits were bulky, others sleek. Each was designed for a different alien form. One alien stepped forward. "I am Ambassador Xerix, whom some of you have met before." The translator device at Xerix's neck turned the buzzing sounds into English. "Welcome to the first official meeting between Earth and the Galactic Confederation." Susan stepped forward. "On behalf of Earth, we welcome you and your delegation." The meeting moved inside to a large conference room. The humans had tried to make it comfortable for everyone, with different chair types and adjustable temperature zones. Still, many aliens seemed uncomfortable. "Your gravity pulls so hard," complained a tall, thin alien named Vec. He wore an exoskeleton support over his suit, and this oxygen level would be toxic without my filters. "What we find most interesting," Xerix said, "is that humans evolved naturally in these conditions." The alien looked at Elizabeth. "Your species adapted to this harsh environment rather than changing it to suit your needs." Elizabeth nodded. "Earth shaped us through evolution. We're perfectly matched to our world." "Perfect for a Deathworld, perhaps," said another alien, a round creature named Glob. "But by our standards, your planet is extremely dangerous." As the meeting continued, the humans learned surprising things. What they considered normal weather was life-threatening to most aliens. A light rain shower sent the aliens into a panic, calling it acid falling from the sky. Even mild temperature changes that humans barely noticed caused aliens to adjust their environment suits frantically. Richard grew frustrated during a security discussion. When an alien called Morks suggested humans might need special restraints. When visiting other worlds, Richard slammed his hand on the table. The table, made of an alien alloy supposed to be incredibly strong, cracked under his hand. The room fell silent. The alien stared at the damaged table, then at Richard. "I'm sorry," Richard said, embarrassed. "I didn't mean to break it." "You broke it with one hand strike," Xerix said quietly. "That material can stop projectile weapons on our worlds." The humans began to understand how the aliens saw them. To galactic species, humans were incredibly strong, resistant to toxins, able to survive extreme temperatures, and nearly immune to radiation levels that would kill most aliens. During a lunch break, Susan watched as the aliens consumed nutrient paste through special tubes in their suits. They observed with horror as the humans ate solid foods and drank water that contained minerals. "You're drinking poison," gasped Glob. Elizabeth smiled. "It's just water with calcium and other minerals. Our bodies need them." "Incredible," Xerix noted. "Your digestive systems can process solid matter containing minerals that would kill most species." Later that day, one of the smaller aliens, Plex, collapsed when its environment suit malfunctioned. The aliens backed away in fear, believing the exposure to Earth's atmosphere would be fatal. Elizabeth rushed forward before anyone could stop her. Using her knowledge of the alien physiology Xerix had shared, she quickly fixed the suit and stabilized Plex's breathing. "Why did you help?" Plex asked when recovered. "Your kind is physically superior. Many species in the galaxy would use that advantage to dominate." Susan joined them. "That's not who we are. Strength isn't just about physical power." As the first day of meetings ended, the aliens returned to their ships to rest in environments more suitable for their bodies. The human team gathered to discuss what they had learned. "They're afraid of us," Richard said, still troubled by the table incident. Elizabeth nodded. "Physically, we're like superheroes to them. We can survive conditions they find lethal. Our immune systems fight off millions of microbes that would cause plagues on their worlds. But they're far ahead of us technologically," Susan pointed out. "Their ships, their translators, their medical science. They have so much we could learn." That night, alien observation devices recorded ordinary human activities. They watched in amazement as humans slept with only thin blankets protecting them from the extreme room temperature. They marveled at humans drinking various beverages, eating foods of different textures, and walking outside without protective gear. When Susan arrived the next morning, Xerix was waiting for her. "We have much to discuss," the alien said. "The Confederation has never encountered a species like yours. Some are afraid, yes, but others see potential. Humans could help with dangerous tasks that are difficult for us. Exploring harsh planets, rescue operations in extreme conditions, construction in hostile environments." Susan smiled. "And you could help us reach for the stars." "Perhaps," Xerix said. "But first we must address the concerns of those who fear you. Not everyone in the galaxy welcomes the idea of strong, resilient Deathworlders joining galactic society." "We come in peace," Susan assured the alien. "I believe you," Xerix replied. "But others will need convincing. The real challenge begins now." As the sun rose higher, casting long shadows across the welcome center, humans and aliens continued their careful dance of diplomacy. Two fundamentally different forms of life, trying to build a bridge across the stars. 1 month after the first official meetings, the human delegation traveled to the Galactic Confederation Central Station. The massive space structure orbited a neutral star far from Earth. Susan Miller, Richard Jones, and Dr. Elizabeth Wright represented humanity aboard a Confederation transport ship. The humans wore special badges that warned other species of their presence. Most aliens still kept their distance, watching the humans with a mixture of fear and fascination. Susan spent her days in endless meetings with representatives from over 50 different species. She quickly learned that the Confederation was not the unified, peaceful organization it first appeared to be. "The Krell Empire controls 27 systems in the Orion Arm," explained Xerix, pointing to a 3-dimensional star map. "They have been in a cold war with the Florian Republic for over 300 years. Susan studied the complex map of alliances and borders. "Where does Earth fit into all this?" "That is what makes your world so interesting," Xerix said. "Your solar system sits at a crossroads between major power blocks. Your location is strategically valuable." Richard attended security briefings where he learned about Confederation weapons and defense systems. The aliens were impressed by his quick understanding of tactical matters. "Your species thinks about warfare differently," said Gorax, a reptilian security officer. "Most civilized species try to avoid physical combat entirely." "We prefer peace, too," Richard explained. "But we prepare for the worst." Gorax's scales shifted color. "The Krell military leaders have been asking many questions about humans. They see your physical capabilities as useful." Elizabeth made the biggest breakthrough. A diplomatic meeting was interrupted when a delegate from the aquatic Mer Collective collapsed. Its water-filled environment suit developed a crack, exposing it to the station's dry air. While other aliens backed away, Elizabeth rushed forward. Using her knowledge of xenobiology, she quickly sealed the suit with medical gel from her kit and adjusted the water mixture to help the alien recover. "How did you know what to do?" asked the Mer delegate later. "I studied your physiology files," Elizabeth said. "The principles aren't so different from our marine biology." News of Elizabeth's quick action spread through the station. Some delegates began to see humans not just as dangerous Deathworlders, but as potential allies whose strength and adaptability could be valuable. Susan noticed a shift in how certain factions treated the human delegation. The Florian Republic became more friendly, while the Krell Empire made thinly veiled offers of exclusive alliance. "They're trying to use us in their power struggles," Susan told her colleagues in their private quarters. "We need to be careful, not to be pulled into conflicts we don't understand." Richard nodded. "The Krell want to show us their military technology. I think they want to see how we might enhance their forces. And the Florians invited me to help develop new medical treatments," Elizabeth added. "They're particularly interested in our immune systems and cellular repair mechanisms." Susan paced the room, thinking. "We don't need to match their technology right away. Our location in space and our unique physical abilities give us unexpected leverage." A soft chime interrupted their conversation. A message appeared on their communication screen. It was from Xerix, marked urgent. Spies from the Vex Collective have been detected on the station. They may target the human delegation. Exercise caution. The Vex Collective was a faction of insectoid species that had openly opposed allowing humans into the Confederation. They argued that humanity was too unpredictable and dangerous to join galactic society. That night, Richard woke to a soft sound in their quarters. He lay still, eyes closed, listening. Years of military training had made him a light sleeper. Something was moving near the specimen storage where Elizabeth kept biological samples. In one quick motion, Richard leapt from his bed and tackled the intruder. It was a Vex, its hard exoskeleton making it difficult to hold. 2 more Vex appeared from the shadows. "Susan, Elizabeth, intruders," Richard called out as he struggled with the strong insectoid. The lights came on. Susan grabbed a chair and swung it at one of the Vex, knocking it off balance. Elizabeth activated the emergency alarm. Richard managed to pin the first Vex to the floor without seriously injuring it. The other 2 tried to escape but found the door blocked by station security officers who arrived within moments. "They were trying to steal our genetic samples," Elizabeth said, checking the storage unit. "Blood, tissue, and DNA samples." Gorax, leading the security team, examined the captured spies. "This is a serious diplomatic incident. The Vex Collective will have to answer for this violation." An emergency council meeting was called. Representatives from all major factions gathered to address the incident. The Vex ambassador insisted it was a rogue operation not sanctioned by their government, but few believed this claim. Susan addressed the council calmly. "We could have killed the intruders. Their exoskeletons are strong, but human strength could have crushed them easily. Instead, we captured them without serious injury." "The humans showed restraint," Xerix noted. "They demonstrated both power and control." The council voted to censure the Vex Collective and placed restrictions on their activities. More importantly, the incident forced many delegates to reconsider their view of humans. These strange Deathworlders had shown they were not mindless, brutes but disciplined beings with a strong ethical code. After the council meeting, a representative from the Florian Republic approached Susan. "We would like to formalize a friendship agreement with Earth. Your people have shown themselves to be worthy allies." Similar offers came from other factions. Even some who had feared humans now sought connection. Only the Vex Collective and their closest allies remained openly hostile. "They will try again," Gorax warned Richard. "The Vex do not forgive easily." Susan understood that Earth had suddenly become a significant player in galactic politics. Despite being newcomers with relatively primitive technology, humans had something many species lacked: physical resilience and adaptability that had evolved on their death world. As they prepared to return to Earth with news of these developments, Susan looked out at the vast starfield visible through the station's observation dome. "We came to the stars hoping to find friends," she said to Elizabeth and Richard. "Instead, we found a complex web of alliances and conflicts. And somehow our Deathworld biology has made us important." Elizabeth smiled. "Sometimes strength comes from surviving harsh conditions." "The question is," Richard added, "how will we use that strength?" Their transport ship departed the next day, carrying diplomatic agreements, technology exchange proposals, and warnings about the tensions brewing in the galaxy. Earth would need to prepare for its new role in interstellar politics, and for the possibility that not all species welcomed the rise of the Deathworlders. 6 months after the first diplomatic missions, Earth had established regular contact with the Galactic Confederation. Trade agreements were being discussed. Cultural exchanges had begun. Small numbers of brave alien tourists visited Earth in special protective suits, while human representatives traveled to various alien worlds. Alan Carter, the farmer who first met Xerix, now served as a cultural liaison. He helped aliens understand everyday human life and accompanied diplomatic missions to other worlds. Today, he was aboard the Confederation flagship, a massive vessel called the Unity. "Your planet continues to surprise us," Admiral Keld told Alan as they watched Earth on the main view screen. The Admiral was from a high-gravity world, but even he found Earth's conditions challenging. "We detected unusual energy signatures from your southern polar region." Alan smiled. "Those would be our defense platforms. We thought it was time to show you some of our hidden capabilities. The Admiral's breathing tubes fluttered in surprise. You had orbital weapons and did not declare them. Not weapons exactly, Alan explained. Defense systems. And we wanted to be sure of our place in galactic politics before revealing everything. The truth was that Earth governments had been secretly reverse engineering technology from Xerx's crashed ship for months. Combined with decades of classified research, humans had developed more advanced technology than they had initially revealed. Alarms suddenly blared throughout the ship. The main screen changed to show multiple vessels appearing near Earth's orbit. Vex. Warships, Admiral Keld shouted. They're deploying something around your planet. The Vex Collective had made their move. Their ships were placing satellite devices in a grid pattern around Earth. According to frantic reports from Confederation analysts, these devices would create a quarantine field that would prevent any space travel in or out of Earth's solar system. This is illegal, shouted a Florian representative. The Council did not authorize this action. The Confederation fleet was in chaos. Some ships moved to stop the Vex, while others remained in place, unwilling to get involved. The Krell Empire vessels protected their own interests, moving to secure strategic positions. Alan watched in horror as one of the Vex energy weapons fired on an Earth satellite, destroying it. Debris damaged several others, disrupting global communications. Reports came in of casualties on a space station. Admiral, Earth will defend itself, Alan warned. As if on cue, the defense platforms Alan had mentioned activated. They fired targeted energy pulses at the Vex satellites, destroying several. From Earth's surface, previously concealed launch sites opened, and human spacecraft rose to join the battle. The aliens aboard the Unity watched in shock. These human ships moved faster and more aggressively than expected. They were clearly built for combat in ways the peaceful Confederation had not anticipated. You hide your true technology, Admiral Keld said, a new respect in his voice. Alan shrugged. We've had wars among ourselves for centuries. We hoped we wouldn't need these capabilities, but we prepared just in case. The battle intensified. The Vex ships had superior technology, but they hadn't expected such strong resistance from Earth. The Confederation ships that had chosen to defend Earth were taking heavy damage. A massive energy blast struck the Unity. The ship shuddered, and warning lights flashed everywhere. A section of hull breached and emergency force fields activated. Life support failing in sections 3 through 7, reported a crew member. Atmosphere venting, gravity fluctuating. Admiral Keld tried to coordinate a response, but communication systems were damaged. The Unity was designed for diplomacy, not war. It carried representatives from many species, each with different atmospheric needs. Alan noticed many crew members, struggling to breathe as the ship's carefully balanced atmosphere changed. The conditions were shifting toward Earth normal as the life support systems failed. Deadly for many aliens, but perfectly fine for him. I can help, Alan said, standing up. I can work in the damaged sections without environmental protection. Admiral, Keld looked doubtful. The radiation levels are too high for any species. Not for a human from Earth, Alan said confidently. Our planet's radiation levels and atmospheric variations trained us well. With minimal protection, just an oxygen mask for the sections with no air at all, Alan made his way through damaged corridors that would kill most alien species within minutes. He reached the main life support control room, which was now abandoned. Alan had learned enough about Confederation technology to understand the basics. He manually overrode the failing systems and rerouted power to maintain separate environmental zones for different species. The work was physically demanding, requiring strength to move heavy components and endurance to withstand the heat, radiation, and shifting gravity. Meanwhile, the battle outside continued. Earth's hidden fleet coordinated with friendly Confederation ships to push back the Vex attack. Human pilots performed maneuvers that alien pilots couldn't match due to their greater tolerance for G-forces and rapid acceleration. One by one, the quarantine satellites were destroyed. Several Vex ships were disabled. The remaining Vex vessels retreated, but not before sending a final message to all Confederation channels. The Deathworlders cannot be allowed to spread throughout the galaxy. They will destroy us all. Alan returned, to the bridge of the Unity, dirty and exhausted but successful. The ship's systems were stabilizing and casualties had been minimized. "You worked in conditions that would kill any of us," Admiral Keld said with awe. "Now I truly understand why they call Earth a death world." News of the battle spread quickly through the galaxy. Images of humans working in vacuum with minimal protection, enduring radiation that would kill other species, and piloting ships through maneuvers that would crush most aliens were transmitted everywhere. The Confederation Council called an emergency session. The Vex representatives tried to justify their actions as necessary protection against a dangerous species. But most other factions now saw humans differently. The humans used their strength to save lives, not take them. Xerix told the Council. They showed restraint even when attacked, and their adaptability to harsh conditions makes them ideal for crises where other species would perish. Even more surprising to the aliens was the human capacity for forgiveness. Earth representatives offered medical aid to injured Vex prisoners rather than demanding their execution, as was common in many galactic cultures. As the crisis subsided, Alan stood in the observation deck of the Unity, looking down at Earth. His simple life as a farmer seemed very distant now. A Florian diplomat joined him. "Your world looks so beautiful from here. Hard to believe it's one of the most dangerous planets in the galaxy." Alan smiled. "Maybe that's why we value peace so much. When you evolve on a world that challenges you every day, you learn not to create more problems for yourself." The diplomat's breathing apparatus made a sound like gentle laughter. "Perhaps the rest of us have been too comfortable for too long." The battle had changed everything. Earth was no longer seen as just a curiosity or a potential threat. Humanity had shown itself to be a powerful ally, not through superior technology, but through the natural adaptations that had evolved on their challenging homeworld. Their galaxy would never look at the Deathworlders the same way again. 1 year after the Vex attack, Earth had become a key member of the Galactic Confederation. The failed attempt to quarantine humanity had instead pushed Earth into a position of unexpected importance. Susan Miller stood on the observation deck of the new Earth Embassy on the Confederation Central Station. The massive structure floated in space, a symbol of humanity's new place among the stars. "Ambassador Miller, the Council is ready for you," said her assistant. Susan nodded and straightened her formal jacket. She had come a long way from diplomatic meetings in a hastily built welcome center in Nebraska. Now she represented all of Earth on the Confederation High Council, one of only 12 species granted a permanent seat. The council chamber was designed to accommodate beings from many worlds. Each section had its own atmospheric controls, gravity settings, and temperature regulation. Susan took her place at the human station, which was reinforced to handle Earth normal gravity. "The Council recognizes Ambassador Miller of Earth," announced the presiding officer, a crystalline being from a low-gravity world. Susan stood. "Thank you. Earth is pleased to announce the completion of our first joint rescue station, located near the Krell-Florian border. This station is staffed by human emergency responders trained to operate in conditions too dangerous for most species." The announcement was met with approval. After witnessing human abilities during the crisis, many factions had sought human assistance for hazardous operations. Rescue teams of humans could enter environments that would kill most aliens, making them perfect for emergency response. The station includes training facilities where humans will teach limited survival skills to interested species, Susan continued. "While we cannot give you our natural adaptations, we can share techniques developed over centuries of living on our challenging world." After the council meeting, Susan met with Richard Jones, who had established a new organization called the Peacekeepers. His team of former military personnel from Earth now helped stabilize conflict zones across the galaxy. Their mere presence often prevented violence, as few species were willing to challenge human peacekeepers. The Krell Empire requested 10 more human advisors for their border patrol, Richard told her. "And the Florians want human guards for their diplomatic missions." Susan frowned. "We need to be careful. I don't want humans becoming mercenaries or being used as weapons." "Agreed," Richard said. That's why all peacekeepers follow strict ethical guidelines. Our strength comes with responsibility. Meanwhile, Dr. Elizabeth Wright had become a celebrated figure in galactic medicine. Her research facility on Earth welcomed scientists from across the Confederation. They studied human physiology, hoping to develop treatments based on human adaptations. Elizabeth showed a group of alien researchers a microscope image of human cells. Our cellular repair mechanisms evolved to handle radiation damage from our sun and toxins in our environment. We're now using this knowledge to develop treatments for species with less robust systems. A blue-skinned scientist raised a tentacle. Is it true that humans can regrow damaged tissues naturally? To a limited extent, yes, Elizabeth explained. Our liver can regenerate, skin heals itself, and some tissues can repair over time. Nothing like some species that regrow limbs, but impressive compared to many galactic beings. The medical exchange program had already produced several breakthroughs. Treatments based on human immune responses helped fight diseases that had plagued alien civilizations for centuries. In return, Earth received advanced medical technologies that extended human lifespans and cured previously fatal conditions. Back on Earth, Alan Carter continued his work as a cultural ambassador. His Nebraska farm had become a famous site, with a visitor center where aliens could experience Earth's environment in carefully controlled doses. This is actual soil from my farm, Alan explained to a group of visitors in protective suits. They watched from behind thick glass as he ran dirt through his fingers. It contains thousands of microorganisms that help plants grow. The aliens recorded this with fascination. The idea of willingly touching material teeming with microscopic life was shocking to species that evolved in more sterile environments. One young alien pressed closer to the glass. And you really grew up breathing unfiltered air and drinking water with minerals in it? Alan laughed. We all did. Earth shaped us to handle these conditions. What seems harsh to you feels like home to us. The visitor center included displays on Earth's diverse environments, from scorching deserts to frozen tundra. Each seemed impossibly extreme to most galactic species, yet humans had thrived in all of them. News reports from across the galaxy regularly featured stories about human achievements. A human rescue team saved miners trapped on a high-gravity moon. Human scientists helped explore worlds with toxic atmospheres. Human diplomats traveled to planets where other species required complex environmental suits. Earth itself changed as it embraced its role in galactic society. Cities built special districts with controlled environments where aliens could visit without full protection. Humans learned to be careful with visitors, controlling their strength and movement around physically fragile species. New technologies arrived from the stars, advancing human civilization rapidly, but Earth maintained strict rules about which technologies to adopt. They embraced medical and environmental advances but were cautious about weapons and technologies that might fundamentally change human adaptability. The Vex Collective remained hostile but was now isolated. Few species supported their views after seeing how humans used their strength. Rather than conquering, humans helped. Rather than dominating, they cooperated. The very adaptations that made them fearsome also made them ideal protectors and explorers. 1. Evening. Susan, Richard, Elizabeth, and Alan met on the observation deck of the Earth Embassy. Below them, the blue sphere of Earth rotated slowly. When I was a kid, I used to look up at the stars and wonder if we were alone, Alan said. I never imagined the galaxy would look at our world and see a terrifying place. Elizabeth smiled. Or that our adaptations to that terrifying place would make us so valuable. The Confederation historian told me they're calling this the human era, Susan said. Our joining galactic society has changed everything. Species that avoided dangerous worlds are now considering controlled exploration with human help, Richard looked out at the stars. We spent so long looking up at the sky, afraid of what might come down. We never considered that we might be what the galaxy feared. Alan laughed. And now they pay good money to visit my farm and learn about wheat growing. The universe is strange. The four humans watched as ships from dozens of worlds moved through space around their planet. Earth was no longer isolated, no longer alone. It had found its place in the vast community of stars. The galaxy still viewed Earth as a death world. Humans were still seen as creatures evolved in harsh conditions, but that very quality had transformed them from frightening newcomers into respected allies. The adaptations that had once marked them as dangerous now made them protectors of a fragile galactic community. From a distant, deadly world had come a species that used its strength not to conquer but to build. The death world that once terrified the galaxy had become its newest hope.